Borda count method. Voting using the Borda count method starts off looking similar to majority with elimination. They both use a ranked ballot. However, rather than looking for a majority vote, Borda count assigns points to each ranked entry, and a total score is created for each alternative. It's similar to the weighted average that we learned about in the previous unit. Step 1 is to assign points to each option. The last choice gets 0, the second last gets 1, and so on until the first choice gets the highest point score. Every time an option is ranked, the number of votes is multiplied by the points assigned to that rank. All the points for each option are added together, and the option with the most points is the winner. The advantage of this system is that it allows for a nuanced interpretation of preferences and will generally lead to a high degree of satisfaction among the electorate because they've had the opportunity through the ranked ballot to say what their first priority, their second priority is, and so on. So the likelihood that they either get the first or second priority or something that they prefer over the worst case is fairly high. The disadvantage is that it is a complicated system to implement, so it's hard to set up, hard to manage, and hard to administer. Let's look at an example. Dr. James is going to bring a snack, apples, granola bars, or pepperoni sticks, in for her math students, and the students will vote to determine the snack. The following table summarizes the results of the student vote, and we've got the information there in front of us. So, given these results, which snack would win using the Borda count? So essentially, each one of these columns represents some ballots. So there were 45 ballots that put apples first, granola bars second, and pepperoni third. There were 32 ballots where granola bars were first, apples were second, and pepperoni was third. 28 where pepperoni was first, apples were second, and granola bars were third. And 23 where granola bars were first, pepperoni was second, and apples were third. So what do we do with this? Let's start off and we'll look at apples. So if we start off, we see apples were first there, and there were 45 people who placed apples first. So based on that, we're going to now say that we've got apples. There are 45 votes, and the scoring for the first choice is going to be 2. Scoring for the second choice will be 1, and the scoring for third choices will be 0. So in this case then, the apples, because they're in a first choice position, get 2 points. So we've got 45 times 2. Now we move along. And we see there are apples here now. They're in the second choice position, and there are 32 of those. So we've got 32, and they get multiplied by 1 because they've got a score of 1. Similarly, in the third column, where there are 28 votes, 28 people ranked apples as second place. So we've got 28 times 1. And then finally, in the fourth column, we've got apples in the last place position, and there are 23 people voted that way. So we would say that there are 23 times 0, which of course is going to end up being 0. Totaling that up for apples, we end up with 90 plus 32 plus 28, which is equal to 150. Now we're going to follow through, do the same process, this time for granola bars. So in the first column, granola bars were second choice, and there were 45 of those. So that means we've got 45 times 1. Now we're looking at the second column, and we've got granola bars are ranked first there. So that means there are 32 times 2 votes for granola. In the third column, granola bars were ranked third, so those 28 votes are going to get multiplied by 0. And in the final column, granola bars are first again, so again we've got 23 times 2 this time. So we've got 45 plus 64 plus 46, which is equal to 155. Finally, we're looking at pepperoni, and we see that in the first 2 columns, pepperoni is ranked third, so they're both going to end up being multiplied by 0. So we've got 45 times 0 plus 32 times 0. Now in the third column, there are 28 who ranked pepperoni as their number 1 choice. So we've got 28 times 2. And finally, in the last column, pepperoni is ranked second. So we've got 23 times 1. And if we total all that up, we end up with a score of 79. So based on those results, we can see that the granola bars are going to be the winning snack.
Add this to your memory aid. Try the practice questions in the workbook and check your answers against the answer key.